Okay, reporting the entire processes of the research by Melissa Martinez. See, I think that is really slow the internet on my computer. Okay, why designing a learning environment is important, the potential of the ICTs. The educational scenario and all that this entails has been in constant evolution. We cannot pretend that the learning processes of our grandparents and even of our parents is the same as the one that we have had. And incidentally, the education that our children and the students are receiving is constantly improving and evolving. But also the world is constant development and thanks to globalization has been forming a large network of intercultural communication with and advances, both technological and scientific. Years ago, countries like Colombia, it was unlikely to have access to the knowledge of everything that is related to international scenes due to the language barrier, but that has been left in the past, and both of the government and national entities have been implementing actions so that the language barrier collapse and we can have access to the wide international world. So, why designing a learning environment is important, and how can ICT be an important character on these scenarios? Stoiners in 1989 states that because technological, cultural, and social circumstances demand new objectives from education and environments to foster the development of competences will no longer be just in the classroom. These new environments complement and bring with them a set of changes that affect all the elements of the educational process. Changes that seek durability and the same feeling of improvement in education. Technology, technology has provided a range of educational scenarios in which both the teachers and the students have faced the evolution towards open teaching and learning modalities, providing flexibility and independence, and has also updated the role of each one. Uh, for Salinas in 1987, stated the student has access and control to learning resources like organization, research, and data analysis, individualized participation based on the student's need, and access to the collaborative learning. There are example communities, forums, sharing knowledge, and developing point of view that will be useful for the solution of conflicts in an analytical way. On the other hand, the role of the teacher, according to the author, is now to guide and enhance the knowledge processes actively among students, advise and manage the learning environment so that they can have easy access to the resources that sources offers to them, and also allowing collaborative experience, feedbacks, and provide learning strategies. Well, I have a general objective in this research and is to relate the importance of ICTs and other factors in the development of an appropriate learning environment, and three specific objectives. The first one is to research and analyze the different aspects that are required to create an engaged learning environment. Number two is to highlight the learning professionals within the learning environment are attuned to the learner's motivation and the key role of emotional achievement. And number three is to clarify that the learning environment recognizes the learners as it is core participants, encourage their active engagement, and developing them an understanding of their own activity as learners. Okay. The first way that I do my research was it was about collecting data from 12 people about learning environments in the educational process. Here are two graphics, and both graphics, the question number one and question number two, refers to the general knowledge about this language and it is use of it and its use of it. And we can see in both graphics that most of them use the English language to improve their skills, even though some of them interviewers were not English language speakers, uh, and they consider themselves the high level of the language. Mm. Also, in the following graphics, we can see that for improving listening and speaking skills, the ideal learning environment should be a place where students can have access to academic resources, interactive materials with learning teacher methodology and motivation. So These were the answers about what is a good learning environment and if they prefer the traditional or the recursive learning processes. And what characteristic one have in a learning environment? Everyone thinks that a learning environment should have a highly physical structure but also an affective aspect. As we can see that an organized place with teamwork between motivation and access to the distributed resources should create an appropriate learning environment. So this was my first uh, way of research. And the second one was the English encounters. I will not deny that in the beginning I felt really anxious as it was my first time teaching adults. Some students beforehand informed me that it would be difficult for them to attend to all the classes due to office hours. So here is one of a positive outcome of teaching online classes, and it was that as a teacher we can look for alternatives and give the necessary tools to the students so they don't miss any class and participate what they learned, practice and practically learn. With this and a good conversation and negotiation with the students, the lessons, presentations, videos, and activities were sent all of them to their personal learning processes, studying and completing the task. And as intermediate level course, the first thing that I wanted to test is their skills, the English skills level, but also to break the ice with my students as a virtual encounters. It was a great opportunity because I met people from all parts of Colombia and also met the reason of why they wanted to learn English and what do they think they like most about this language. As one of the considerations of the growing relevance and implication of technology-based schools innovation is that technology can perform several key functions in the changes processes, including opening up the opportunities that improve teaching and learning, particularly with the affordance or of customization of learning to individual learners' needs, created interactive classes that let the students learn but also participate and giving scenarios in which they can interact with each other. On the other hand, with these classes, I could find the students not only has access to collaborative learning scenarios like recreating conversations, sharing knowledge and debating point of view, but to control to control to learning resources, organization, research, and analyze. And individualized participation, with active participation, asking questions, translating some unknown words, etc. So an example of this one was that on October 18 and 19 I had with my students as speaking activities like conversation between the students A and the students B about asking and answering questions about topics like finance, family, and language English. Another activity was to create a story based on pictures presented by the teacher. One of the and also I have another day it was a class about Halloween where was a create a debate about if they are in favor or against about Halloween. And one of the issues that I faced with these activities was that many students were absent due to factors such as poor connectivity, rain, and work schedules. Therefore, the activity could not be carried out with many students, like less than five, six, four people were connected, but for both from group A and group B. And it was a but was a really interesting activity since I could not only check the English level of each student, but also the commitment and participation of them. We could also get to know each other much better. Here is an example that of the main obstacle that of these encounters are not only the work hours mentioned in the beginning, for more the accessibility of internet in some areas of the country and also the weather showing each week a big lack of participants in classes. And the ones that are in classes were in with a video and some reception. The most but was the most wonderful thing that I experimented in this in this encounter for the positive participation, active participation, and comments and recommendation from other students. So here for some example of they have only one, two students uh, in my class. So for this one, the conclusions and the results of this research was that with the collecting data, one of the most important results was the most of the interviewers believe that English is an important language to learn and to apply in every sphere of the society. That maybe if they could not have the possibility to learn this language, they wanted to let their kids, family, or students have access to all the advantages that a good learning processes and environment can offer them. Also, the internet connection can be a privilege for some people most of the time, as in many corners of the country, this service is just that fluctuant, lower quality when it is in a rainy season. So the ICT needs to be improved by the authority related to this. The virtual encounter with the students of English students were a great opportunity to practice and learn some aspects that a virtual tutor face in every aspect, like be patient, motivated, and motivated students, responsibility, and build a professional relationship with them. On the other hand, while there were many students commitment to the classes providing activities, participation, and interest, there were others who lacked confidence at the beginning, but were motivated by the innovative and resources activities. Unfortunately, there were some who simply lost the opportunity without explanation. Perhaps, or I don't know, could be a position that could be given to another who would benefit from it. And for my first experience in front of class with seniors, it was a very productive process in which I could analyze the different processes and learning styles, capabilities, and commitment of the students. I could also observe that it is possible to carry out the dynamic and productive classes on virtual platforms as long as there is a good methodology, perseverance, resources, and motivation, not only by the teacher but also by the teacher of the students. Thank you very much.